Well, this is the problem I have.
Barbara, did you call in yesterday under the name of Judy? Tell the truth.
No, I
did
not.
Are you sure?
Not.
Have you ever assumed an identity that wasn't yours?
Michael, please.
This is a serious question.
What are you talking about?
Okay, go ahead.
This is the problem.
You seem frustrated, Barbara.
I'm a conservative Republican. I work for an oil and gas industry here in Texas. This is the problem I have with the Republicans, or some of our ilk, if you will. I'm tired of our candidates being demonized. I think it's fine that we scrutinize them, but I think that oftentimes they're demonized, and we provide too much fodder for our opponents, i.e., the Democrats. And this is the case I have for Romney.
Okay.
Now, I've watched all the debates, and I feel like I'm an intelligent adult.
And
I'll tell you what I think about some of them. I like Rick Santorum. I like his social, views and that sort of thing, but I think oftentimes he comes across as insecure and even desperate. I think Newt is got an ego way too big, and he's old school. He won't carry many independents or the young vote, and he has way too much baggage. Perry, in my opinion, is already president of Texas, and he can't get away from it, and I don't think he can do any better right now. Ron Paul, I like his constitutional views, but he's a nutcase in regard to his isolationist theories, and you just can't run a country like that right now in this world.
Let me ask you a question, Barbara.
Yeah.
A couple of things. You're a good sample voter, so don't take it personally. I hear the word nutcase a lot about Ron Paul. What aspect of his supposed isolationism, that's a tag we've applied instead of delving into the public policy, where is he an isolationist nutcase? Help me understand that.
Well, his views on Iran. Just take that one, for example.
Okay, you say he's an isolationist. What does that word mean to you?
Well, that we should have no business in other world affairs, to some degree, it seems, world economy, and no business in knowing what other countries are doing.
Well, is that what he said? He doesn't want to know what other countries are doing?
It seems like that to me.
How does it seem like that?
Because he says we have no business being in other countries.
Well, he's not said that, sweetheart.
Well,
he has said quite the opposite. But that's okay. Let's focus on one issue, and it's
okay.
Can we
I
agree?
make my case for Romney?
No,
because
you will.
I haven't gotten to Romney yet.
I'm not going to cut you short. I promise I'm not going to cut you short. But I think it's important that before we demonize a candidate, we understand whether we're working with facts that are in evidence or spin that's been offered up. Let's go to the issue of Iran. Do you honestly believe that Ron Paul's position, as you've stated it, is we don't need to know what Iran is doing?
Yeah, I pretty much think he thinks we need to be out of any foreign countries and not be in their business. He's already said that. We shouldn't be in other countries' business. That's what he said.
What part of Iran's business do you want to be in?
Well, I think we ought to know if they've got a nuke prepared to launch.
And how will we know that?
Well, we probably have, I would imagine we have some spies over there. We have something going on.
You don't think Ron Paul wants espionage?
Not from what he said. He stated it pretty clearly. We should not be in other countries' business. That's what he said pretty clearly.
Okay.
Now, I've heard him state that more than one time.
The alternative seems to be, from the non-nutcase crowd, that we need to do things like invade.
Now, I only said he was a nutcase in regard to the isolationist theory
I understand,
that I come
but apparently the alternative to the isolationism from a neocon perspective is that we would, for instance, invade Iraq and Afghanistan for 10 years, right?
I think that's a pretty extreme, Michael.
No,
that's pretty wide. That's a pretty far pendulum swing from what I've just said.
Well, you certainly wouldn't say George W. Bush is a nutcase and he invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, right?
I think he had espionage or information that was available to him that obviously we didn't have.
Oh. Okay. what point are we, the public, who are sending our sons off to fight this war, at what point are we allowed to have
My
a little...
son did 2 tours in Iraq.
Okay,
and
well,
I
that,
believe,
that
and
doesn't
I can
actually
tell
give
you
your
one
opinion
thing.
any more validity.
I will tell you one thing. He has a very different view of things because I've had long discussions with him about this.
And I appreciate the fact that after subjecting himself to potentially being killed, that he feels like his mission was important. I respect that.
Thank you.
But that doesn't mean, but he's not our chief policymaker, and the American public gets to decide where we're going.
Do you think that George Bush made the decision to invade Iraq without any information at all? Without any support from anyone else? You think he just one day just woke up and said, "Oh, I'm going to go invade Iraq"?
No.
Okay, thank you. Can we move on to Romney?
We can move on to Romney, but you just did what you say you don't want done of Romney. You demonized Ron Paul by taking his position, contorting that position, and restating nutcase. I mean, honestly, Barbara, you wouldn't want me calling you a nutcase. You certainly wouldn't want me calling your son a nutcase. You wouldn't call your next door neighbor or your pastor a nutcase. Nutcase is a strong statement.
Specifically said that he was a hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
A nutcase in regard to his isolationist. I said I agreed with him.
Hold on, Barbara. You called in about Mitt Romney, and I'm going to let you make every point you want to make about Mitt Romney, but I don't want to have to cut you short. So stay right there. We'll come back to you on the Michael Berry Show.